Take a moment and think about the buildings in your country, your state, and even your local community. What do you notice about them? How are they structured? Are there certain design elements that may resemble the temples of ancient Greece? If so, that is not a coincidence. Architecture all around the world nowadays has been known to take inspiration from ancient Greece. Most buildings you see today use the same kind of inspiration, just in the modern way.
My name is Paige Brevik, and I have a master's degree in art history. So I specialized actually in Egyptian art and archaeology. And then right now I'm actually working in Crosse as an art history professor at the University of Wisconsin. So it's really nice that I get to kind of study and do what I love.
Ancient Greece was one of the most influential civilizations in history. Everything from their ideas of philosophy, democracy, religion, and art impacts our modern world. Some of the most unique examples are the National Monument buildings found in Washington, D.C. Greek architecture in the U.S. persists through the enduring popularity of the Greek reveal style, characterized by white columns, pediments, symmetrical temple-like facades. These are especially common in civic, university, and residential buildings.
I think the neoclassical style, draws so much inspiration from Greek architecture. And I think that it does that maybe for a couple of reasons. I think one is just that in Athens, of course, that's where democracy is formed. And I think that the buildings themselves have always been historically associated with that idea of justice and truth and balance. And so that's maybe something that Western society has kind of held on to over the years. So part of it, I think, is that nod back to that time. I also think there's something sophisticated about the use of columns and marble and stone, something that's a little bit more austere. We see the neoclassical style also in museums and universities, and so there might be maybe kind of a desire to align themselves with that kind of educational institute.
"1200 BCE marks the beginning of the ancient Greek civilization period. The most important structures in ancient Greece were the temples. The temples served as a location for the mythological figures where they would leave offerings for their gods. These temples were made from limestone, as it was the material that was most readily available to them and it could withstand the maritime weather of the nation.
I think so. I think that the Greeks, of course, used a lot of the stone and marble that was there available to them. But we see over time that the trade influenced some of those details and the materials that they used. So I think that being able to take advantage of that beautiful marble and that stone, I think, was something that they saw, didn't want to let those resources go to waste.
Temples are most notably recognized by columns and the wide body of the building, making it look like one giant room that worshiped gods and goddesses. Greek city planners came to prefer the stoa, which was a long hallway lined with columns, as a device for framing the agora, which was traditionally the main gathering place of a city or town.
I think that they probably did have some significant influence on them. The agora is a good example of that, where we want to have a big open gathering space. If we think back to how they were used initially, a lot of them were for people to gather and kind of have a voice and have a public forum and a public space where they could gather and speak. And that's how this idea of voting and citizenship and democracy then emerges. So I think that necessitated that kind of space in the building.
When America was building its nation post-revolution, they chose to model a government off of ancient Greece for a specific reason. Ancient Greece represented a democratic and civilized society, and in the aftermath of a brutal war, that is exactly what the new American people wanted to embody in their nation. In the history of art, this was called the Neoclassicism era, and it played a crucial role in America's founding days. General George Washington and other founding fathers were enthusiasts of this style and found that modeling our government after the Greek Empire would be the best way to govern a new country. That is why you'll see many civic buildings that resemble the elements of ancient Greece in the United States and all across the world.
I hope so. I would love to see more Greek inspired designs and anything that's going back that's very classical, but also the idea that we can be artists ourselves and kind of take some creative liberty with that very classic Greek architectural pattern that we see in that style. So yes, I would hope to see that more in the future. I feel I often, when I talk about Greek architecture in my classes, I feel I often have students say, why don't we have buildings like this anymore? And I say, go out and build them, ask for them, have that, even just details. So maybe you don't have your building looking like a temple, but you have some of those more classic artistic details. So I would hope to see more in the future.